Watch this video. Gamers are the biggest threat to American society. Chat, you hear that? You're a threat to American society. Oh, that's hot. Chat, if you're a gamer, you're a threat. Chat, are you a threat to society? Because if you live in America, you are. You have your own personal federal agent. If you engage in video games, you're a threat. Alright, I'm listening. 3, 2, 1.
It's 2024 and they've gone and done it again. We're back with another attempt from the United States government to tell everyone how video games are causing violence in the world, creating extremists, and most importantly, how they plan to stop it all. This time, the leading cause of extremism is apparently content creators, live streamers, and of course the returning classic, memes.
Do you guys remember when they banned, well no, they didn't ban, but they thought that Pepe was like a racist symbol or some dumb shit? I remember that. Yeah, Pepe the Frog was a racist hate symbol.
I read this 45-page document that was created by a branch of the US government, so come with me on this magical, mystical, and often confusing carpet ride to discover how you, once again, are the problem. First things first, who exactly wrote this report and what's the overall goal? It was created by an organization called GAO, also known as the US Government Accountability Office. This office is funded by and directly reports to the US Congress with—
I pay for that. Chat, I pay for you guys to get told you're terrorists. By the government. My money that I pay out of my Twitch, out of my Twitch cut, I pay into the
the lead position being called the Comptroller General, a position that is assigned by the US President.
Okay.
The GAO exists, in their own words, to help the government save money and work more efficiently. They basically get paid taxpayers' money to try and hold the US government accountable in their spending and to try and find problems that need to be solved. This time, the problem they found that needs solving is gaming and social media. I'll read you in their own words why exactly this report was initially created. In recent years, content on social media and gaming platforms that promotes domestic violent extremism has influenced several high-profile attacks, according to experts and agents.
There's like a handful, maybe. I don't know, I can't really think of one in recent memory that was like directly related. I'm gonna need a source. The source is me. I'm the government. I make up my own sources.
Officials. As a result, some social media and gaming companies, as well as federal agencies, are making an effort to understand and address online content that promotes domestic violent extremism.
Oh my god. Imagine a boomer trying to understand. A boomer in office that was born in like 19 freaking like, I don't know, 55. Trying to understand memes, emojis, and Discord calls, filtering through them and trying to understand if kids are joking or not.
GAO was asked to review domestic violent extremists' use of social media and gaming platforms. Essentially, they're putting forth the idea, directly, that gaming and social media has contributed to some heinous acts of violence. And I'm not even going to disagree with the premise that social media is a place that people become radicalized or communicate extreme ideas. Nor am I even going to disagree that there are pockets of the internet that foster communities like this. What I am going to disagree with is lumping gaming in there, as well as how they provide almost zero examples of what they claim exists throughout.
Helldivers 2 promotes a patriotic annihilation of bugs.
This entire report, whether you disagree or agree.
Did I see Roblox and Christchurch in the same fucking paragraph? Am I crazy? I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, Roblox and Christchurch. Two words I would have never put together.
There needs to be substance to make the claim, but we'll get to that. So let's go over some of the greatest hits of the report. On the very first page, they essentially present a pipeline of extremism that stems from live streamers. The pipeline, in their words, goes from a live stream to video hosting
Chat, I'm a threat. I'm the point of origin. Oh my god.
sites, then to social media platforms and forums, eventually landing on user sharing. Now, obviously, they're not talking about your average Twitch streamer who plays Fall Guys or World of Warcraft. They're talking predominantly...
No. World of Warcraft is a threat. We should stop people from streaming World of Warcraft. I agree with Congress. I agree with Congress. Stop playing WoW.
About those fringe streamers that are deplatformed from most of the mainstream websites. The types of people who are most likely deep down conspiracy rabbit holes and foster an audience that are probably on the way towards some pretty extreme beliefs. This is a very real thing that exists. My issue with the usage of this, of course, is that there's almost zero context about what or who they're talking about. They just throw this infographic out there. This becomes a much bigger issue when you start to introduce the gaming aspect, which they essentially lump in with this entire report, using the...
Me running over prostitutes in GTA leads to violence against women. I bet you that's gonna be one of the talking points in this. $100.
Very real social media bubbles of fringe content to smuggle in gaming as some kind of Trojan horse to Congress. This becomes apparent when you look at their inclusion of an ADL, Anti-Defamation League, article, which represents gaming as a whole as some kind of breeding ground for...
Wait, what? Report the Anti-Defamation League found that 20% of adult gamers and 15% of young gamers reported being exposed to white supremacist ideologies in online games. Bros, is it really 15%? No, I don't believe this. I need to see the entire stat spread of that. And exposed doesn't mean you engage with it either. What if it's like, hold on, hear me out. What if it's feds baiting other feds? Or like, it's feds doing this and saying this so they can take down video games.
And I will quote them here, white supremacy. The ADL report I also read, just to make sure I wasn't getting my wires crossed and I had all the information at hand. The GAO essentially used this ADL report to inform what they're talking about here. This is one of only like 8 sources that they cite in this report to Congress. So the ADL article is important to the points that they're making. And the ADL essentially claims that, quote, more than 4 out of 5 adults, 86%, aged...
What the fuck are you talking about? 4 out of 5 people experience harassment. Anything is harassment, man. I launch a game on multiplayer game and I will experience harassment in one of my games. It doesn't mean it's gonna affect me mentally. Holy crap, this shit is awful. Yeah, words I don't like? Oh no, I'm gonna cry. I lost my game of League of Legends and the guy called me shit at the game. That's harassment. There's no way this is a real statistic. 67 million online adult gamers
from 18 to 45 experienced harassment in online multiplayer games.
Guys, I know a way to cut this down immediately. Tie your social security number and your real life name and you'll stop all of the harassment instantly. Yeah, let's do that so that we stop it. No, why not, man? Everybody's getting harassed because they're anonymous, you know? Wait, disrupted plays such as trolling and griefing. Guys, they consider that harassment. So if I grief some motherfucker's game? No, I got harassed.
A few things in the article that could explain them reaching these numbers of harassment is this infographic of data where they asked 13 to 17-year-olds if they experienced harassment and then broke it down by categories. The categories include things like disrupted play, such as trolling or griefing, which made up the largest chunk, and called offensive names, which came in closely behind. So what the
saying negative things based on avatar skin, clothing features, username, or in-game possessions. So if I make fun of the guy that's called fucking weed smoker, ganja enjoyer, 420 blazed X and call him a fucking pothead, that counts as fucking harassment? Or that his fucking skin sucks and it's harassment? Oh my god, this shit is so stupid.
Calling harassment is basically if somebody says you're shit at a video game, goes
trash,
AFK or intentionally feeds, team blocks you in FPS, something like that.
This is all Tyler One's fault, yeah. He's the reason why harassment has gone up in League of Legends and the feds want to stop video games.
Something griefing or trolling you. They're basically using this to present an argument that gaming is full of these really bad people and it's extremely toxic and hateful, which seems pretty fucking out there as a concept to me personally. They then go on to use this data to claim that, and I'll need to quote you on this just to outline how stupid it is, as a result of being targeted by hate in online games, 30% of young players said they always hide their identity when playing online. Now,
no shit, don't reveal your name or like... Guys, I know this is like a newsflash for some people, but don't fucking use your real name and like date of birth and like state combined into your fucking username. Like, please, for the love of God, don't do that. You're actually just, like, beyond low IQ if you do that stuff. Yeah, Blizzard tried to tie your real-life ID to your Blizzard account, and they learned that that was a bad idea because their fucking guy that did it first at their work did that, and then he got harassed because his real life name got doxxed within like 3 hours.
I've been playing video games online since 1997. I've never once
Was this
not
Ultima?
hidden
Holy
my
shit.
identity in video games. I don't make my character name my actual full name. I don't make my character look like me. I don't change my display picture to be a picture of me. Nobody does this. We all inherently hide our identity just by virtue of existing in video games and always have done.
Exactly.
We create usernames and
They were onto something, then fumbled hard as hell and hyper-focused on video games instead of forums.
I don't think his forums should be fucking censored either. Like, if you're gonna say something atrocious like, I'm gonna find your house and I'm gonna kill you, I know where you live, like, yeah, you should probably get the police called on you. But if you're just fucking around and fucking in a forum and saying you're a fucking dumbass freak, shut your mouth, your opinion's wrong, that's not harassment.
and gamer handles and tags. So this makes zero sense to me. They're trying to basically say that due to somebody trolling you in a ranked match or calling you shit at a video game, whatever it's going to be, which we all know people do, they all say outrageous things in games to just try and offend you. Nothing about you personally, probably, because they don't even know who you are. The ADL's trying to make this link that due to that, and they've shown the data, the majority of it is coming from these two groups of what they call harassment, to say that this is making young people hide their identity. And if this is what you're putting forward, I have to question your credibility or what your goal is if you're dragging this into your report as if it
Oh my god, 12% increase since last year. Well, like the next year by 12%. Whoa.
made any sense or contributed towards an actual point. Now this is where it gets wild. They also
Citation
polled kids,
needed.
literal children, ages between 10 and 17, asking if they had been exposed to white supremacy. They even
Why are you even letting anyone below the age of, like, I don't know, 14 or 15 play online multiplayer games that aren't filtered to shit. Big piss. Why are you letting them, like, play on, like, COD lobbies and shit like that? Let them fucking play Roblox where you get censored for every word and, like, you just play little fucking games. Because money? I know, but I'm just saying, it's such a fucking ridiculous statement. Yeah, like Roblox, fucking, what's it called? Cartoon Town, Toontown. Like, go outside. Fucking walk your dog, man. Don't play Roblox, though. It's full of pedophiles. Counterpoint. Don't let your kids, like, privately DM people and, like, interact with them. Like, watch them play the game or something.
Been specifically outlined to the children that by this,
don't let them play unsupervised.
The exact concept of believing white people are superior to other races and white people should be in charge. I've
never in my life heard anyone, like, say that in a video game. Maybe I'm just like not been exposed to that, even though I've played video games since the dawn of time.
That is a quote. Apparently 15% of kids said yes.
What are you playing, fucking COD or something? Even in COD is probably not that bad.
They have been exposed to this in multiplayer games.
You didn't play Halo 3? No, I did not play Halo 3 online. Would you shut your mouth? Get over here. Brrr, I'm so mad. I hear fucking shit outside. Oh, I'm so mad. Oh, shut your mouth. Shut up. Oh my god, lay down, buddy. Lay down. Oh my god. The freaking cleaners are outside in the hallway. And he's screaming at the fucking vacuum, man. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. God, what a fucking baby. Oh my lord. Yeah, it's the cleaners. They're making him fucking angry because he hears the vacuum outside and he thinks it's a monster. Anyway.
What the fuck are kids playing nowadays for this to be the case? You don't have to wait long because the answer is apparently Roblox.
Roblox!
Now, I obviously don't play Roblox.
Roblox has white supremacists in it? Dog, how?
Blocks, but in all my time playing online games, I wouldn't say I've been exposed to white supremacy. I've been exposed to people saying words that they shouldn't be saying to try and offend people. I don't think I've been exposed to actual ideological white supremacy, like somebody speaking out a manifesto or something.
I don't believe this.
Maybe times have changed, but anyway, that's in there. The next section they called ally behaviors, which I'm going to skip for everybody's sanity. The next part is really interesting, actually, to prove a point that I'm trying to make.
Dota 2, let's go! Dota 2, number 3, let's go!
And this is where they give a statistical breakdown of
go!
which games these kids are reporting being harassed.
World of Warcraft number 4, Final Fantasy number 5. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
And
good
stats, 60%. Trolling and saying bad words as personal harassment in video games, you know exactly which games are going to be at the top of the tree. All the competitive team-based ones, obviously.
And World of Warcraft, someone calls you a fucking shit tank and you write, oh my god, someone called me a shit tank. I know in Final Fantasy 14, there's such a thing as toxic positivity. I saw a massive Twitter thread of someone correcting someone for not having their taunt on their tank character. in a dungeon, and that guy freaked out on them and told them to shut the fuck up and stop telling them how to play the game, even though they were just telling them to like turn taunt on as a tank and have people like, you know, not get aggro. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Valorant, Call of Duty, Dota 2, Fortnite, PUBG, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and the list continues.
Roblox is number 6, let's go.
Built a statistical basis that claims harassment in online games is growing and causing people to do heinous acts in real life because kids log on to a competitive game, get told they're shit, called some names that are probably based on shock value and nothing to do with them.
Pollux, not Vulcan! Subhumans, holy shit! Go to EUNE Ash! Oh my god! Of course it's the EU server!
Personally, because they don't know personally who they are, get trolled. That's what this report is.
Oh my gosh.
And just for the record, 3 of the people that were experts that consulted on the GAO's actual congressional report work for the ADL, so were probably in some way involved in this report. This gets worse when they get to the section that they talk about adults and their experiences of harassment. The ADL claims that from their data, 17% of adult gamers experienced doxing.
I had a friend that played on EU West, and everybody, he told me anecdotally, every time he would play a League of Legends game back in like 2012 to 2015, every time there would be a fight that would break out, if they found out one of the people arguing was like from like they were from Turkey, they would all gang up on the Turkish person even though they were fighting amongst themselves and start shitting on that person. It was so fucking sad. Oh my god. It's so fucking sad to hear that. He's like, that person did nothing wrong and they would still gang up on them. That's in League of Legends EU. Like EU West, I think. Yeah, EU West. What does it say? 17% of respondents were doxxed? There's no way. There is no way 17% of people are doxxed and 12% are swatted. I don't believe that.
As in having their personal identifying information like full name and address
12% were spotted. I don't believe this.
Also, get this one, 12% of adult gamers in America experienced swatting.
12% of gamers. How many people did they say they took the survey of? That's not, I don't believe that, man. That's an insane amount. You would have like stories of people getting swatted like fucking 100 times a day.
Which the
in
ADL
America
defined as having a stranger make a false report to emergency services to target somebody. So
yeah,
they're
there's
claiming
no way. I don't
out of
believe
60 million American adults that play video games.
Yeah, 60 million, 12%? No, I don't buy this shit. People lied on the survey? Yeah, I think so. I really do.
7.2 million of them have experienced swatting, with also 10 million of them experiencing doxing. Which I'm just going to say, I don't believe these numbers. I don't believe that they're real. There's no way I could conceive of this being true. Obviously, I know doxing and swatting do happen, but to random people in video game lobbies, a combined rate of...
Like, it's always streamers or people who give out their real life name. I feel like people don't fucking do that readily. This is so dumb.
29% of 60 million people.
Yeah.
There's not a chance that that can be the case. That would mean statistically, every game you join of, say, Valorant or CSGO...
Something tells me they never conducted any sort of research with actual SWAT teams for that info.
Well, it says that any report of emergency services, which is like... I have a lot of online friends, and I've never heard of them getting doxxed, let alone swatted. Ever in my life. Like, you can't... It's entirely based on surveys. I just don't understand. How can you lie about this kind of thing?
With 10 people in there, almost 3 out of the 10 have been doxed or swatted before
I don't believe
due to
that.
a video game match that they played. That number just feels absurdly high and reads like fiction, created to support...
Oh my god, this is a Russian swatting that happened. They found out their real name and like swatted them. And Russian police don't fuck around, by the way. He immediately put his hands up. He's like, oh shit.
Narrative that makes gamers appear to be considerably more dangerous than they are.
Yeah.
Anyway, that ADL report is a video all on its own. I obviously have gone a little bit deeper into that because this is a large basis for the rest of the GAO report as it pertains to gaming specifically. I just wanted to give you a background on what this report was using when it was presenting this narrative to Congress. This is what they claim is a factual basis for their objective reporting. Now, not only do they use this ADL report as a source, they also use the Department of Homeland Security report called Homeland Threat Assessment 2024, the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Department of Homeland Security report called Intelligence Assessment and Data on Domestic Terrorism, a January 6th report on domestic terrorism, a PEW research center. So
they use all of that info in their freaking other reports. That is so fucking stupid. Imagine how much of that money that we pay as taxpayers goes back into this dog shit because they think it's an actual threat because of these skewed ass numbers. I hate this so much.
The social media fact sheet, Entertainment Software Association's essential facts about US video game industry, and last but not least, the US Secret Service mass attacks in public spaces report. You can find all of those within the main GAO report, which I will link below. So it seems like most of the gaming inclusion here comes from that ADL report, and that specifically comes from a mass shooting event in Boston.
I'm just saying I probably wouldn't be as nationalistic if it weren't for Blood and Iron on Roblox. No. No, shut up. Shut up. Blood and Iron on Roblox. What is this? Check out Blood and Iron. It's one of the millions of unique user-generated 3D experiences. What is this? Let me see. It's a game centered around the legendary Napoleonic Wars. No! They think Napoleonic Wars make you nationalistic and racist? Bro, I've met some of the most wholesome people that enjoy, like, historical... No! This is such bullshit! Dude, my dad loves Napoleonic history, like wars from like the 14th, 15th, and 16th century. I'm not joking, dude. My dad loves this stuff. There's people that do recreations of like old ass wars for fun on like Saturdays and Sundays. Sounds like he should play. Yeah, apparently so. He's gonna become nationalistic. Yeah, my dad's a toxic gamer. It's over. I should report him to the feds. What the fuck? Your dad's playing war games? He's prepping? Yeah, I guess so. He's gonna become a general one day. I cannot believe this. I thought this would be like, I don't know, like World War II. This is Napoleonic Wars featuring renowned regiments such as the Old Guard and the 95th Rifles from both France and Britain. Age 13 plus, violence moderate repeated. Playing in first person is highly recommended. You just run around on your horses and bayonet people. Oh my god, I hate this so much.
Buffalo, which they link to gaming because the shooter released...
It's not even a game about American Civil War. Why is this even a thing?
A manifesto stating he was radicalized by a Roblox custom game, which we've seen before with people claiming after they've done something really bad that a video game made them do it, which is obviously nonsense. It's not engaging in reality. I don't know why you believe these people. There's obviously something wrong with them to do that in the first place. So to then say what they've written or said makes them a trustworthy narrator, and we should take on surface level what they think did this to them is ridiculous.
Excerpt from archived version of Buffalo Shooters Discord logs. Nah, this is an inside job. There's no way someone would say that unironically. I think someone planted that. There's no way. Yeah, he was trolling or someone made up that. Like, there's no way. It doesn't make sense.
As a concept. It's never the video game, it's always a mental health crisis and a failure of society to help that individual. The avenue or venue for the radicalization is hardly relevant, nor is it ever the actual video game. It's always people they meet who share similar ideas, which then—
Is there a particular person that radicalized you the most? Brenton Harrison Tarrant started everything. Brenton started my real research into the problems with immigration and foreigners in our white lands. Who the fuck says that word? Like, guys, I've worked with old people who said some racist shit at my work. They never say this kind of stuff. Nobody says this. Nobody says the word white lands. My God, these people are insane. Who the fuck says this?
Makes
this
it not
is
about
fake.
gaming at all.
Yeah,
about
the
the core issue
lands.
of mental health and any tool to communicate or find peers. Which is why these reports always miss the mark for me, as they focus entirely on things like gaming being an issue, ignoring the fact that gaming is not the problem.
Yeah, PUBG
and
makes me
never has
racist.
been. They totally miss the forest for the trees. You should be trying to solve people's mental health and what's leading them to this path, instead of skipping that step and just saying, let's try to monitor these places where people are meeting. Which again, I think on the totem pole of how people do these things, gaming is probably very low.
I think Discord does have a problem with people getting groomed and there's pedos and this and that. I do think that's an issue with Discord. But holy shit, all video games?
So let's go back to the GAO report. They then outline, and I'll quote the section, ways that domestic violent extremists use online platforms, and then they show an infographic talking about memes. Essentially saying, and again I don't necessarily entirely disagree, that people use memes to spread a message to a large audience, and then a small portion of people that message reaches and resonates with move to a private communication group. Then, of that small communication group, an even smaller percentage of those people might wind up doing something radical. This is not
The Daily Stormer? What is this? I've never heard of this in my fucking life. Guys, like, are you serious? What is this shit? Have you heard of this? Press 1 if you've heard of the Daily Stormer. Like, I'm not saying you're engaging with this. I'm asking, like, as an honest question. I've never heard of this in my life. 111 vaguely 2 1111111 2 11. It was big like 7 years ago. Okay, I guess I'm just that clueless. I've never heard of this in my life.
True, this does happen. I know we've all seen some incredibly racist, sexist, or otherwise outrageous memes on social media. And of course, you can use anything that's popular as a way to convey an idea for anything positive or negative. But I'm going to hazard a guess that most of the time people sharing those, even if they're bad, even if they're memes based on things most people consider bad, they aren't on a mission to recruit people to any kind of cause, and are just sharing them because they find them funny. Obviously, I don't agree that they're funny, but I don't think everybody who shares something that's, you know, some kind of way is out.
Or they're being edgy. When you're a little kid, you're fucking edgy as fuck because you have no brain.
They're trying to recruit people. And we have examples of this, so that's why I don't rule it out as existing. We can just look at things like involuntary celibate, or better known as
I question everything because I do not trust these studies, even if something has been verified thrice over. Is it me, or am I smelling glowy plants in these groups?
I'm not even talking about verification. I mean, like, literally, like, logically, this doesn't make sense. A game about Napoleonic Wars made you radicalized and nationalistic. That doesn't make any sense. I would have believed more so, like, with, like, COD or something.
Cells. These people do see and share these memes, then they end up in a community where they get further radicalized, and then things happen. They have done, we've seen them. The next section discusses the mass shooting in Buffalo and makes an absolutely wild leap of logic. They claim that due to the gunman putting a camera on his head and then carrying out the attack, that he was, quote, replicating the visual style of a first-person shooter game, which is utter fucking nonsense. It's just a convenient place to put a camera, which is why it's used in pretty much every outdoor activity video ever. They just put a GoPro.
Using first-person GoPros is... Oh my god.
On their helmet. There's zero link to the idea he was trying to replicate anything. And again, this just discredits the report and exposes the clear agenda directly in the face of their stated mission of objective and neutral reporting. The GAO report goes on to make some incredibly silly assertions, such as this section that basically says gamers make friends in games, and some of those gamers might be extremists, so somehow making friends is bad or something. I don't know exactly what the point is here, to be honest. They just say some extremists make friends in games, and...
Oh my gosh. Guys, you heard it here first. Making friends is bad.
That could be a bad thing.
Self-isolate.
The funny section comes up next, where they basically contradict most of what they're claiming with a single sentence that reads, "One expert noted, there is no evidence directly linking violence in video games to real-world violence." But they then go on to immediately hit you with the however, and then say that extremists will use certain games to target people who play violent ones, and even make their own games to recruit people, which again makes it not about the game, because there are no mainstream games created that have any kind of sizable audience you can point to that exists with the intent to recruit people to extremism. If these are the leaps of logic you're making, you basically can replace the term video game here for written or spoken language and blame the ability to communicate instead of video games, as there's zero way to link any of these things together as a cause, and the actual vehicle for recruitment is just the ability to communicate, which you can do in pretty much every avenue that people use on a daily basis. This is like blaming electronic mail for people being extremists because somebody can email somebody else. Like,
hey guys, want to get together for a barbecue and discuss racism? Sign up right here, please. We're gonna use our public emails.
Yeah, as soon as you allow people to talk to each other, if they find somebody who's into the things that they're into and they're together and talk about the bad things, this is nothing to do with video games. This next part's pretty crazy. According to some companies they spoke to, big tech and social media in particular, they...
Oh yeah, very good. Trust big tech. The people that got the... people that can't even, like, fucking control their own fucking games, man. Guys, I have a fun fact. I got mass reported out of a fucking, rated battleground in World of Warcraft because the other enemy team could abuse a system where if enough people report you at the same time, it bans you out of the game and makes you lose the game because they don't filter you for any kind of, like, what you said is irrelevant. Like, I didn't say anything. All they did was right-click my portrait and report me all at the same time. Like 10 people, all at the same time, and it nukes you out of the game, no matter what you did. You can get unbanned 2 hours later if someone decides to look at your ticket, but it still does that. And you trust these people that can't even control their fucking... They can't even control their own game. Like, they're filtering. What username did you choose? I chose the one that's not fucking stupid like your one. Does that answer your question? I literally just explained it's irrelevant. You can do that on a lot of games, I've learned. No, my name had nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter. They just did that because it was an exploitation. They just report you for anything. Harassment, inappropriate name. Nobody does that. It's an automated system.
Assign human workers to specifically monitor people who they believe are, quote, bad actors.
Yeah,
not
bad
just on
actors.
their platform either. Meaning they employ people who follow them around digitally to other platforms and mediums, compiling reports and keeping tabs on them. That's the social media companies doing that, not the government. That information is then obviously going to be shared with federal government. This next part was pretty funny, to be honest, until I thought about it more. The GAO report links certain profile pictures on social media to violent extremists. They state specifically that many white supremacists use ancient Greek, Roman, and Norse imagery to, quote, create an aesthetic that supports their narrative.
Oh Oh my god. Greeks and Romans and Norse people. So all the people who have like Scandinavian Norse mythology and like Thor and stuff are harassers and white supremacists. Oh. Yeah, what about anime profile pictures? I want to know what their conclusion for anime profile pictures on Twitter is. I wonder what the report says about that.
Now, this on surface level sounds
homophobes,
ridiculous,
yeah, probably
right?
homophobes.
But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Almost every time I see someone saying some deeply racist or sexist shit on my Twitter timeline, they almost always have a picture of a Roman centurion or some old Greek statue. This was obviously funny to see in a government report because it sounds stupid, but at least anecdotally, this one tracks with what I've personally seen.
I've never seen that, but again, I don't know. Maybe that is actually anecdotal.
Though obviously the issue lies in grouping people together as if they're all doing that if they have the same profile pictures, because at the end of the segment they specifically state, one of the experts noted that this type of imagery may not directly violate company content policies, but it helps draw others into this worldview, which doesn't even mention the people using these pictures doing anything. It just draws a line under those profile pictures and says they're bad. One last thing I want to highlight.
That makes no sense,
The report also
but
states
okay.
the federal government is collecting evidence on social media, which we already know.
I think it's for specific types of communities, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen that in the VTubers fair. No matter how stupid and, like, unreasonable their tweets are. Rip to museum social accounts. Yeah, you're not allowed to have a profile picture regarding history.
New, but now you have it in black and white that if you post some memes that they consider to be an issue, you're probably now on a list. But unlike Santa Claus, where you have to do something really wrong, it could just be you posting a Pepe or something, which, let me remind you, the ADL still considers a hate symbol. Have no
Oh my god, they still do? Pepe the Frog is a cartoon character, often as a sad frog meme by people unfamiliar with the name of the character. The ADL is such a joke, and we fund that as Americans with our taxpayer money.
Because the federal
Pretty
agency
sure.
responsible for collecting your memes and your social media information does not join Discord servers, so gamers are mostly safe from this. They're not really allowed to go anywhere where they would be required to interact with you directly.
ADL is a non-profit. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. That makes me feel a little better.
Or something like that, so they just stick to public places. That being said, throughout these reports, there are also claims that Discord is a bad place and also somehow complicit in creating extremists and radicals, just like gaming apparently is. The reason they come to this conclusion is solely because it can be used for bad people to communicate, which again, anything online can be used to communicate by bad people, but they obviously feel the need to point at gaming and Discord specifically.
Socializing.
So to me, clearly this report...
It's almost like socializing, no matter what the outcome or the, like, what the outcome is, it's all about tribalism. Everything is about tribalism. You find people that you identify with, no matter what game you play. Yeah, eventually you will find someone that you have something in common with, as long as you start communicating with them first. If you're silent, nobody's gonna fucking know, obviously.
Was completely lacking in any form of evidence, factual or objective reporting, despite the claim that that's what the GAO exists to do. They use terrible reports from the ADL that make zero fucking sense, to be honest, to lump gaming into the equation when this report should have focused solely on social media, which they can probably make a much stronger case for. Obviously, you've got big people on these alternate social media platforms that do run live streams and post videos that have some pretty extreme beliefs, some nationalistic beliefs, things like that.
No.
But you don't see that in gaming. It just seems like another time where gaming's getting blamed for something that it really has nothing to do with, despite not a single study existing that links violence to video games, even the most violent games in the first place. I do want to say that obviously there will be examples and cases of people finding each other in video games and then going on to a private server somewhere and eventually maybe doing something radical like the report claims.
Yeah, that's so small.
Common sense.
A percentage.
Any avenue where people can communicate with each other presents the opportunity for this to happen. And obviously the games that host user-generated or created content, such as, for instance, Roblox, are games that are more likely to have this occur. games that host player-generated content as well as games for children probably do need more strict monitoring and moderation for exactly those reasons. But to take the entire gaming industry and just throw that to the wolves over a concept that is so common sense and apparent, with zero evidence of any of the claims outside of saying it can happen, is wild for a government agency to be doing. They may as well say the internet, the postal service, the local town board, talking in the street, the telephone system, or any form of communication is the issue. That would make
My argument for another point I wanted to bring up is the fact that the Buffalo shooter said something like, oh yeah, I love this Roblox game that simulates Napoleonic Wars, right? So now are they considering like banning all Napoleonic like games involving like bayonets and shooting people and like mounting horses and slaying people in those games? Like, you know what? Remember when they would cry about Doom being influencing school shooters and stuff? Like that, it's such a bad argument, like bad faith.
make just as much sense as saying specifically gaming is the problem. What bothers me most is that these reports always present everything as bad. They state that gamers can become radicalized, but they don't mention that gaming can also bring people together, create friendships, help people who might be struggling with isolation or on the path to radicalization by bringing them into situations with other gamers who enrich their life and unknowingly bring them back from a dark path.
those don't
They would rather
exist.
pretend that gaming is somehow an issue or that any of these problems are inherent to the medium. Gaming can give people a place to belong, introduce them to kindness, companionship, and understanding, but in their world, they only see the bad. And the scary part is that the report was accepted, with the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI agreeing to their recommendation, which is incredibly vague in the first place. But anyway, there we go. Another example of gamers bad. There was over 250 pages of documentation here between the sources. So if you want to go read, enjoy. It will all be linked in the GAO report, which you'll find down below. And remember, next time you post a meme, they're watching you.
No, they're not, man. They're cherry picking. Ah, what a mess, man.